Hello everybody, this is Matt Nelson of 911conspiracy.tv. I woke up this morning, got out of bed, looked at a picture of Cheney's head, recommended in my homepage. It's an interesting article. We may have to shoot down this aircraft, says then Vice President. September 5, 2019, we learn of a new book, The Only Plane in the Sky, an oral history of 9/11, in which we will see the first ever interview with the Navy officer who ultimately asked Cheney for authority to shoot down hijacked airliners. Could that be Doug Cochrane? Do the orders still stand? You may remember Secretary of Transportation Norman Mineta testifying about a young man. That's this guy. This is the first ever interview, but 9/11 Commission interview. We can look at that, right? White House timelines. Doug Cochrane. Withdrawal notice. Access restricted. National security classified. Draft timeline of shoot-down order and calls between the VP and POTUS and reports of inbound aircraft. Well, if we look at this article, Do the Orders Still Stand?, we can learn that the presidential shoot-down order came at 10:20. We need presidential authority. VP, the only job he has as far as the military is concerned is to not die. So, he couldn't do squat. So about Flight 93, some debris. This is one of the big pieces. There's another. All the people were identified by DNA or dental or fingerprints. There's one of the engines. That was apparently dug out of the hole. The other, I guess, they say, was found 2,000 yards away. Interesting. The Flight 93.
Well, the remaining wreckage of Flight 93 that was hijacked on 9/11 has been buried at a memorial in western Pennsylvania. 4 shipping containers were buried in a private ceremony on June 21st in Shanksville. The burial was in a restricted area, accessible only to loved ones of the victims. 40 passengers and crew died.
Here's the memorial.
3 National Memorial.
So that was
Today
last
we're going
year.
to be taking a look inside the Flight 93 Visitor Center, which was dedicated in September of 2015. We're currently standing out at the end of look at 3 is going to impact at 563 miles per hour, inverted, upside down. And this case is really meant to give you the sense of fragmentation that takes place when Flight 93 crashes. And so if we get a little, these are average size pieces that were found all across the site from the point of impact and southward. The pieces are so fragmented and small here, but the majority of the aircraft has been absorbed into the ground here. And so it's not until late.
Flew into a strip mine that had been backfilled, so there was soft dirt in there. But of course there's conspiracy theories about it. I wrote a lot more about the WTC 9/11 debris, airplane debris. Linked to, well, this page here for the Shanksville debris. We can look at the shipping containers. A couple of them anyway. From a Smithsonian article. Apparently they had thousands of photos at the FBI that we haven't seen. Perhaps one of the engine that was found 2,000 yards away from the crash site. It was apparently stored at an airport for a while in these containers. Again and again we hear of jet fuel smell. Here's some of the FBI photos you can look at for yourself. Here's some, again, from the Smithsonian.
San Francisco-bound United Airlines Flight 93 took off from Newark Airport on September 11th, just as it did every morning. 46 minutes into the flight, it was hijacked.
Flight 93 with
cell phone calls enabled hostages to learn their fate and plan their strategy.
And when one of those telephone exchanges, they said they decided to...
One of them was Lorraine Bay's flight manual, donated by her husband Eric and delivered by friend and fellow flight attendant Kathy Stanchek.
It was in a brown cardboard box, and I'm saying, do I want to open it now or do I not? And when I opened it, it just reeked of jet fuel. And I broke down then. I said, now it's reality now. It's kind of like I'm holding history in my hand.
FBI video here.
20 minutes from the office as we drove that day. I expected to see fuselage, remnants of a plane, which I didn't see anything but pretty much smoke and some fires.
I saw absolutely no signs that an airplane was present, no matter what direction I looked.
You didn't know that a plane had crashed there. You had a crater. I think we had about 100 ERT personnel come in, and that doesn't include all the support personnel that they brought in to support the mission. We had our safety officers there to check the air quality for us, and initially they determined that we should be wearing just regular Tyvek boots, and if we were working in the crater, then we needed respiratory protection. You really can't go much beyond a 12-hour shift. People are on their hands and knees crawling through this site looking for debris, personal effects, and human remains.
It's interesting that they kept the,
There are dark secrets in the mountain, too. The charred evidence from United Flight 93 brought down by terrorists on 9/11 is heavily guarded in one of the underground vaults. It's no secret who their biggest client is.
The biggest client by number of employees would be sections of the federal government.
That's the Iron Mountain facility. This Iron Mountain. Here's some witnesses.
We think it was shot down because as soon as it crashed, a big fire plane flew over the school. I'm like, that's just what I think.
I think that the passengers took it down. That's what I think.
I think it was both.
There's conspiracy theories about it, of course, because, well, there's so many discrepancies in the official story. The 3-minute discrepancy is the big one. Apparently 10:06 is when the seismic data pinned the impact, but the flight data recorder says 10:03. The wide displacement of the plane's debris, one explanation for which might be an explosion of some sort aboard prior to the crash. Letters were found 8 miles away. Engine weighing about a ton was found 2,000 yards away.